my friends, you got to get positive yardage. So that would mean QB sneak. Maybe you run a play. You've got to do something. Otherwise, the clock automatically stops. That's a rule. And again, this will never happen because player safety and all the rest of it. But that's a rule I would love to see because it gets frustrating when you're watching a game and it's like, well, minute 40 to go, that was a great game. And it ends with a QB taking 3 straight knees and then it's handshakes and it's game over.
Pretty anticlimactic.
Pretty much, yeah.
I like that. You have to gain at least
an inch.
An inch.
You fight for that inch.
So generally, I would imagine you run the ball, but you run the ball, you also run the risk of being tackled in the backfield.
Or having a fumble. You know, the QB sneak would be the most logical way, but if you've got a QB making $53 million a year, maybe you don't want to cram him up into the line 3 straight times. So it definitely brings a little bit more strategy into the end of the game.
You're encouraging the tush push to happen 3 straight times is what you're doing.
Yeah, that is one that I would have gotten rid of, but I know it got close this year, but ultimately the tush push remains. And the other thing, just bring back the kickoff. This kickoff, I don't even know what they call it, dynamic kickoff or whatever they call it. It's lame. It's a lame kickoff. Just bring back my 10 guys and my kicker, you're 11, I'm going to kick it, and we're going to come tackle you, because that would bring back the onside kick. Which the onside kick is now dead.
Me specifically, I could not be further out on the new onside kick rule. It is the absolute stupidest thing I have ever heard, where you have to be trailing. It has to be the second half or the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, I believe.
You're trailing, has to be the fourth quarter, and you have to announce to the whole world, we're going to try to onside kick it here. Be ready. When Sean Payton began the second half of the Super Bowl against the Colts with an onside kick, one of the best moments.
Oh, yeah.
And that I can remember in Super Bowl history. And they get the onside kick. The Saints go on to win that football game, partially because of that momentum shifter. You take away the element of surprise of that, you have to be trailing, and it has to be the fourth quarter.
And you have to declare it.
Can you put me into any more of a box? That is ridiculous.
It's akin to calling somebody at home and saying, hi, is Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson there? Yeah, this is she. Hi, I just want to let you know that about 1:15 tonight, I'm going to rob you. I'm going to climb in the downstairs window. I'm going to sneak up the stairs, and I'm going for your jewelry.
Let me prepare my defenses.
Right.
Sorry, you can't do that anymore.
No.
Or your odds of success just dropped from 20% to 1%.
Yep.
Congrats.
And think about like Dan Campbell and how many times he would just come out there and bite a kneecap. Like,
yeah,
he would probably onside kick every time.
Just because
he's so much of a risk taker. But the element of that, it's been ruined. And I know player safety, and I don't want to increase the risk of players getting hurt. Although, as Willard always says, the injury rate is 100% in the NFL anyway.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the kickoff and make it, even though most kickoffs end with, blocking the back or holding anyway, at least you get the excitement of the big high kick and in the catch, and then you get everybody to engage, and it's an actual play.
Yeah. I feel less strongly about changing the kickoff back to the OG kickoff, but if that's what it takes to get the onside kick back to normal, because you have to line up like you normally would when you do the onside kick to keep the element of surprise there, then I'm willing to do it. Maybe you just incentivize more fair catches to save injuries, but the NFL doesn't want to do that because they want more action. I don't know, but I would be willing to put up with the most dangerous play in the sport if it meant you get the surprise factor back for the onside kick.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know how many onside kicks got converted last year, but I would imagine it's probably 5 or fewer over the course of games.
I think so. Let's see. What else should the NFL change? Underthrown balls down the field, quit calling defensive pass interference. If you have a ball that's like a deep ball, a go ball, and maybe there's a little bit of subjectivity here, you have an individual ref's discretion that you have to trust in terms of what is like a go ball. It's an over-the-shoulder kind of catch attempt. You have a ball that's so severely underthrown that the receiver has to slow down, and that slowing results in the contact from a trailing defender. That's not defensive pass interference. You should have to have some degree of accuracy on the throw from the quarterback in order to deserve DPI. Terrible throw that's 10 yards short of your intended target, I don't care if the DB tackles the dude before he touches the ball. That's not a defensive pass interference.
Agreed, and I would go one step further to adopt the college pass interference rules, where if the pass is more than 15 yards in the NFL, you get it at the spot of the foul. So you get these 40 and 50-yard pass interference penalties where you just chuck it up, and if the defender's beat by a step and he doesn't turn around, I don't get my head around, that's a flag, and now we get 45 free yards and a penalty. I would make pass interference like every other penalty, which is it's 15 yards at the maximum. So if it's PI, it's the spot of the foul until you get up to 15 yards, and beyond 15 yards, you just get the 15. You don't get the spot of the foul.
That's interesting because what happens in college sometimes is if there's a deep ball and it's going to be like a walk-in touchdown, you incentivize committing a penalty. You're incentivizing the defense to grab the receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'd rather give up a 15-yard penalty than a 50-yard, even just catch, but a 50-yard touchdown too. So that's the one issue that I think of when it comes to that, because you then would be incentivizing the defense to make not a dirty play, but a non-football play in order to save you like 35 yards.
A cheap play. That's fair. And, as we've seen, NFL teams have gotten really clever about how to utilize the penalty to their benefit. Which game was it this past year in the playoffs where the defender kept jumping over the line of scrimmage before the snap? And we were down to the goal line, and they did it so many times that the referees basically said, if you do it again, we're going to just award them a touchdown. Do you remember that?
Was that the Bills and Chiefs again?
That sounds about right.
I don't remember.
Lucas, do you remember that? Where the team intentionally committed so many penalties in a row at the goal line that the refs came out and said, if you do it again, then we're just going to award them the touchdown.
I believe the Commanders were one of the teams.
Okay.
Oh, Commanders Eagles. That's what it was, right? Yes. Yes, it was. I remember because it was in Philadelphia. The Commanders and the Eagles playoff game. After the Commanders beat the Lions, they met up in Philadelphia, and yeah, you're right.
The refs threatened to call a rare, palpably unfair act penalty, which would have given the Eagles a TD.
That's
because
crazy.
they encroached 3 times, obviously, intentionally, trying to stop the tush push is what it was.
Yes.
And so, palpably unfair act penalty, the PUA penalty.
Classic, of course. We all know that.
Yeah, so to your point, if they went to a 15-yard pass interference maximum, teams would adapt and adjust and probably figure out the way to get around it.
They would. Anyway, I think we've established there are a number of ways that these leagues can adapt.
You fix basketball, which is cool.
I think I fixed basketball. I know it's never, ever going to happen, but I really would. I would pay to see how that changes the sport. I think it would be a lot of fun, but I know I'm not dealing in reality. I'm dealing on my own fantasy land. It's never going to happen. Anyway, time for a break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. If you want to weigh in on anything that we've been talking about today, a lot of baseball, a lot of All-Star game, a lot of swing off, and then also some rule changes that we'd like to see across multiple sports. You can let us know at 888-957-9570. Plus, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Willard and Dibs on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And while you're there, make sure to check out what Steiny and Guru thought about last night's MLB All-Star Game. You're going to want to hear what Guru had to say, and it won't be difficult for you to hear it because, hint, within 5 minutes of the show starting, he was already screaming. That's all available to you on the free Odyssey app. Okay, time for a break. It's Willard and Dibs. Grandy in for Willard. Dibs and Grandy with you. More next right here on 95.7 The Game. Dibs, you'd be surprised how just a couple of inches will change it.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Whoa, you took that out of context.
Wildly, yeah. It's what you guys do back there. Shoes on the other
I
foot
guess
now,
normally
Grandy.
that's what I do, yeah.
And you're really good at it, too.
I am pretty good at that, you're right.
Willard walks into it a lot, and I think part of it's on purpose. He likes to...
He can sense it, and he's like, you know what? All right, let me slow down.
Yep.
Say it clearly. Dibs, lay out. All right, here we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Play that Grandy one again, Lucas. Let's hear it.
Dibs, you'd be surprised how just a couple of inches will change it.
There you go. And I said something earlier too, which, had inches involved, but I'm not going to repeat it because I'm happy to not be
I don't remember
involved
what
in this
it was.
bit. Well, because I asked you how much they expanded the base, and you told me 3 inches. And I said 3 inches has never made a difference in anything. That's what I said.
All right, there you go, Dibs. Or there you go, Lucas. You're rolling there, and we can get that from Dibs.
Yeah, and
if
it's,
you want.
not that I would know, but...
You know what's happening today, Dibs?
Tell me.
It is the ESPYs.
Okay. Get excited.
This is must-see TV, am I right?
You're wrong, but...
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a perfectly placed event because there's literally nothing on, and maybe that's why they had the WNBA game earlier. I would doubt there's any games in the W going on later today, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. I could double check. I've been looking through all the categories at the ESPYs, and there's a bunch. As far as I could tell, the only one that involves any Bay Area ties, Dibs, and if you know others, and I mean Bay Area ties as in an athlete currently on a Bay Area team or a Bay Area team in and of itself, like Sabrina Ionescu is nominated for Best Play for her Game 3 her Game 3 WNBA Finals 3 that helped them win the game and win the final. She's nominated for Best Play. But specifically about Bay Area teams or a player on a Bay Area team, the only one I can come up with is for Best Championship Performance, Steph Curry nominated for what he did in the Olympics last year for Team USA basketball.
Pretty awesome.
He's on a group there with Simone Biles in the Olympics last year as well, Freddie Freeman for World Series MVP for the Dodgers, and Rory McIlroy winning the Masters, completing his career Grand Slam. So your nominees, Dibs, for Best Championship Performance, Simone Biles, Steph Curry, Freddie Freeman, and Rory McIlroy. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm giving Steph Curry the ESPY for that performance.
Yeah, and I think that he will get the ESPY. And just looking at some of the other categories, I see that Simone Biles is nominated for Best Athlete in Women's Sports, along with Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone from track and field, Gabby Thomas, and Asia Wilson. I think that's a category where Simone Biles gets the W. And, what Steph did, and maybe I'm just stuck on the iconic picture of Wemby closing out on Steph with his 2 arms akimbo.
Yep.
And it looks like there's no way Steph gets that ball over a stretched out Wemby, but he does, and it goes in. And just the golden dagger moment, which the game had already been decided, and the dagger probably was already inserted into the French. But that moment...
He also hit those subsequent daggers.
He hit them all.
As he hit 4 in a span of like a minute and a half.
And the fourth one, which Noah Eagle, Ian's son, called so eloquently the golden dagger, it was an unbelievable call. And because of that and how close it was, and the fact that they had to dig out from beneath Serbia in the semis, and then Steph did what he did, like you said, down the stretch against a very game French team. I think he wins that.
On French soil, too. Yeah, right. I mean, it was just like the perfect storm of craziness, and it was Steph who took over down the stretch. So that would be, for my money, the winner of the Best Championship Performance. There's so many categories, but as far as I could tell, that's the only athlete on a current Bay Area team or a Bay Area team in general, because there's also like Best Team nominations, and there's no Bay Area teams nominated for that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the ESPYs today. Let's take one more call before we get on out of here. 888-957-9570. Gene is in Oakland. I think it's Gene's birthday, and he also wants to weigh in here. Gene, happy birthday. How you doing?
Hey, thank you very much. It is indeed my birthday. Yeah, July 16th, 1946, the same day and year as our current mayor, Barbara Lee, as it turns out. Anyways, I have a rule change I'd love to see implemented in the MLB. For every major league team that wants to maintain its franchise, the ballpark has to meet certain minimum standards, starting with a minimum capacity of 30,000 fans. All right, so you know what I'm getting at.
Yep.
You talked about Manfred. I mean, this whole deal, playing in a minor league park in the scorching heat in Sacramento, and for 3 years, is an absolute embarrassment to the league. It should never have happened to begin with, and it all happened under Manfred's watch. All right. So for all the good stuff he's done in terms of rule changes, more than offset by this travesty that he inflicted on the game. That's my 2 points.
All right.
Happy birthday, Gene.
Happy birthday, and I like it. I mean, yeah, when we talk about Rob Manfred, you can't get too far down the conversation, Dibs, without bringing up maybe not what he firsthand did, but what he at least allowed to happen with the Oakland A's. I mean, it's just a travesty.
Well, he allowed it to happen because his fellow owners, they were all about it, and they all get a piece of the new franchise fee and the rest of it. And I don't think what they all were incentivized by was not the good people of Oakland. They weren't looking out for Oakland at all, and they really allowed him to run that thing into the ground. Forget whether or not he should move or not move. A lot of these franchises move, and you're allowed to move. For me, the real atrocity is the way they allowed John Fisher to drive that franchise and drive the entire organization into the ground ahead of moving. And he basically kind of co-signed on the notion that, well, I can't make it work here in Oakland, so I have no choice but to leave. The fact that he co-signed that entire lie, that's the part to me that is so atrocious. If John Fisher would have run it like a real business and just come out and said, hey, you know what? I'm trying my level best here, and Howard Terminal's not working out, and the Coliseum's not the place, but you know what, darn it? I've tried. You've seen me try. I've invested in the team and all that. I want to go to Vegas. It still wouldn't feel good, but at least you could look at it and say, you know what? He tried, and this man did not try. He did the absolute opposite of trying, and Rob Manfred stood right next to him and allowed it to happen. That, to me, is the real atrocity.
Yeah, well said. I'm with you. Dibs, you know what we didn't get to today? I was excited about this conversation, but we kind of got tied up in MLB and rule changes and me daydreaming about how to save the NBA. We didn't have time for this. We can get into it tomorrow. There's like a question facing our Bay Area teams, each of them right now. Giants going to make another trade, whether for a pitcher or for a bat. Juwan Jennings asking for a trade or a new contract. And the Jonathan Kuminga saga. Well, what I wanted to get into, and we can do it tomorrow, is which of those three things happen first, which happens last, and maybe which never happens? Like, do we think any of those things might not ever happen, at least not this year? We can get into that come tomorrow, because those are three big decisions facing each and every one of those teams.
And they're all coming to a potential head rather soon with the baseball trade deadline in 15 days. And, you know, the NBA Summer League is ending in about 5 days, and I think teams want to kind of just chill after that. And, you know, you've got the Niners and Juwan Jennings. They're set to report in 6 days. Will he report? And if he does, will he have new money on that deal?
I think he'll probably report. He'll be a classic hold-in, would be my guess. That's how I see it playing. But
just report and not actually be on the field.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's how I see it going. But we can get into that tomorrow. That's all the time we have today. What's coming up on the game is brought to you by Fremont Bank. Here for you, here for good. It's Best of the Game, an hour of 95.7, the game's best content from the day, hosted by Lucas Alexander. Luke, what's coming up next?
The crossover, and you teased it, I think it was last segment, but Guru yells about something.
Oh, yeah.
Tune in to find out what.
Well, yeah, Guru screams, which I guess isn't terribly unique. It happens a lot, but that's why we love Guru. Guru screams about something on the crossover, and you can make sure to keep listening, because you will then find out what he's screaming about. That's coming up next. Dibs, been a pleasure. I'll catch up with you again tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, can't wait. It'll be fun.
All right, let's do it. For Dibs, for Luke, for Ken, I'm Mark signing off. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk tomorrow right here on 95.7 The Game.